Okay, so hello. Gino, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, and let's introduce our guest today with Taste and Flavors. His name is Gino Raidy.
Yeah.
Raidy.
Raidy.
Raidy. And Gino is the writer of Gino's blog, an uber popular website and blog. I think probably the best Lebanese blog there is.
I hope so.
In my opinion.
Thank you.
And Gino, from his, let's say, blog, I got a brief description about who he is, and I think he summed it up perfectly. His location is Beirut, Lebanon.
Yeah.
He's a writer by occupation. He studied at AUB, biology and psychology.
Yep.
And no journalism.
No journalism.
No journalism. Faith, non-existent. Politics,
Yeah.
libertarian. Music, electronic, which is cool.
Yep.
And now we're going to let Gino talk to us about Gino's blog. What it is and how did you get started?
Okay, so Gino's blog started out as an extra credit assignment for an English course at AUB. And I think the first month or first couple of weeks, I got a few thousand hits. And I was like, wow, people are actually reading that. So I bought the domain name, and ever since I've been trying stuff. If something works, I keep it. If it doesn't, I remove it.
Okay.
And it's been almost 4 years now. So it has a large audience now. I have fixed series if you want.
Okay,
like
and what are the
Fashal.
different sections of Gino's blog?
The main ones, which are the most popular, are Fashal, which are fail photos, which readers send in, funny things they see and they send in. Another is the weekly leaks, which is if there's a big event happening, a new place opening, I leak the date or who's coming or etc. beforehand.
And your success rate
is high in the 90s. The one I'm sad about is Coldplay. That was wrong, yeah.
Coldplay is wrong?
Yeah. They were supposed to come last month.
Okay.
I think it's because of the situation, but that's one of the things I regret, if you want.
Okay.
I'm sad about. But mostly all of them are true. Because Lebanon is a small country, so you always find out somehow.
So if I ask you who your source is for the week?
No, I never reveal. Ever. No matter what. Because if I do, I can't use them for another leak again.
No, you're right. And we like the leaks, so I'm not going to say anything.
Yep. And I review a lot of things. I comment on current affairs and politics. I review a lot of restaurants, clubs, events, which is the fun part of blogging.
Yeah, definitely. So you started off as an extra credit project,
Yeah.
and what was the post that got you 2,000 hits?
A post about scouts.
Scouts.
Because I was still in university and everyone was, how are you still scouts? Aren't you too old for that, etc. So I tried to put in a post why it's important to be a scout and how it's actually something good. So because of that, it sort of boosted the blog, and ever since I've been writing.
Is this considered your full-time job now?
No, I wish. It's something for fun. No way.
Not yet.
I never get paid for content, and even if I did, it'll never be enough. I'm starting to sell ad space now, separate from the content. So hopefully, but it's definitely not my day job.
What do you do for
I copyright now.
Okay.
Yeah. Freelancing.
Freelance. Okay. And how do you create a successful blog in Lebanon? What's the secret, let's say? Or from what you...
There is no secret, but the problem is that everyone tries to do a blog so they can put on their CV, which is completely not the point. So the blog on my CV doesn't really help as a scientist. A lot of people just do a blog to have a blog so they can add it to their CV. And I think that's why, I think in Lebanon there's some 2,500 blogs that have to do with Lebanon or Lebanese.
Wow.
But a handful really are updated enough or garner a big enough audience. And most of them, which are all friends of course, it's not their job. Some are bankers, some are doctors, some are consultants. None of them is actually a journalist or a blogger.
Right.
So the thing is to have something to say. And if it's good enough, people will share it. They'll do the work for you. You don't really have to do anything.
Right.
So I guess I'd say don't blog just to blog. Have something and put it into a blog.
Something authentic.
Yeah.
Right.
Something real, authentic. Don't use it as a job pitch.
Okay. Okay, do you think, because I mean, the blog has taken off since, do you think you would have had, or you would have been just as popular as you are now if you wrote using traditional media or for traditional media?
No, because I would have never had the opportunity to write in traditional media because I don't have the credentials to be a writer or a journalist, technically. So the blog's really nice because it's a one-man show thing. You set it up, everything, the layout, the logo, writing, sharing, the policy. So it's mine. It's your thing. So if it works, it does. If it doesn't, if you think of a big magazine, you rarely ever think of a writer. You think of the magazine. Yeah. So I think the blog's nice because people know it's you. It's the real person. It's not commissioned. It doesn't have to be unbiased. It can be biased, and people want it to be biased even. So you put your opinion. So I guess it's the blog. The popularity of the blog is because of the biasness, if you want,
right,
and the unprofessionalism.
Right, because you can't do the same thing for traditional media, obviously.
And you're stuck with the word count.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of limits, and people have to go and actually get the magazine or the newspaper.
Right.
On the blog, you can see it on your Facebook timeline, on Twitter. It's one click away. You can read it on your phone, on your mobile, on your laptop.
And how do you pick your topics? And have people try to influence?
I get so many press releases every day.
Really?
And the sad part is the agencies still don't know how to deal properly with bloggers. So they send me very irrelevant things like a washing machine launch or a family station wagon, stuff I would never ever buy. And they always think, I want to give a report to the client saying, I got you earned media. But some of them are doing it right, and I really try to not to get too close to them. Like even if a restaurant says come try this, I don't go. I say I can't, and then I go another day and try it. Because if I went there and they expecting me, they'll give me extra treatment, and I'll be wow, this place is awesome, and I'll write a good review. Right. And if someone else goes and it's not that pleasant, they'd be like, oh, they paid Gino, oh, it's Gino's friend, blah blah blah. And at the end of the day, the only good thing about the blog is that people trust it. So it's okay. I'm prepared to navigate through the agencies.
They know it's a genuine opinion.
Yeah,
and,
always.
We're not just saying it because.
Even if it's a friend, I'm always honest. Even if it's a friend and it's something bad, then that's the only really benefit of having a blog, of reading a blog versus an actual publication or the actual website of the company or the restaurant or the brand.
Because you get a true opinion.
Yeah, it's like sort of like consulting a friend about something.
Right.
Not an expert or a critic or a professional reviewer.
I see. And so you have very passionate followers from what I've seen on Twitter, all that stuff. What's the funniest interaction you've had with one of them?
Funniest?
Yeah.
It's always fun to meet people because everyone thinks blogging is just online, but it's not. It's the offline part more.
Yeah.
So it's when you actually go to a party or restaurant and you actually meet the people who you know virtually, maybe on Twitter, or they comment or they email you. That's the fun part. Funniest part, I'm not sure actually if there's a funny part, but it's always an extreme pleasure to meet someone. It's always awesome.
Well, not maybe funniest, but because I also know you do, because since you said that you do true reviews, I'm assuming that you have many enemies as well. That's my
and they're more vocal.
Yes, more vocal. So tell us about a post maybe that had landed you in trouble, maybe?
Several do. We have this thing in Lebanon where libel and slander is still a thing today.
Yeah.
And a lot of people try to exploit that. So whenever you write a bad review about someone, they might resort to that. So you get phones saying like X, Y, you cannot play with this guy, or you better remove that, or
so death threats.
Yeah, it got to that point a few times, but not for reviews. For political opinions. And usually not from non-Lebanese people, luckily. So I'm not that worried.
Really?
Yeah. But the real annoyance is the slander and libel thing, because a lot of people use that, and unfortunately, our laws and our judiciary is really outdated, so they don't really know how to deal with online things yet.
Right.
Like they barely can deal with radio and TV and newspapers. So there is no law, and when there is no law, it means that anyone with a bit of influence can give you a really hard day, and you can't really say anything because there is no clear law. So
So
I got
you
that
can
several times.
technically get prosecuted.
Yeah.
Right? You can.
Yeah.
You can get technically
Yeah,
prosecuted.
but luckily also, because the judiciary is so outdated, many of the judges, when one of these things, these cases come before them, they're like, I don't want to waste my time with these kids online playing. Yeah.
Okay.
So luckily, it never actually gets to court because the judge tosses it out the door.
Right.
And I guess now, because when people do that, they think they'll shut you up. But if I ever get a lawsuit, I publish it. Who filed the lawsuit and why,
Okay.
which is a million times worse for them than actually not filing a lawsuit.
Yeah.
So we're starting that culture of accepting negative criticism, I think.
Right.
Lots of other bloggers too. And I never delete a post, even if it's wrong. Like, if it's wrong, I clarify above it why, I apologize, say this was wrong for this and that. I never remove it, so not even lawsuit, not death threat, nothing we remove. And it's nice when actually people take the time and money and influence to threaten and file lawsuit. It makes you happy because someone went to that length to actually try to stop
and
you.
You also know that you're making a difference.
Yeah, hopefully.
Right.
Yeah.
You're making a difference. So yeah, how important is free speech to you?
I'm an extremist when it comes to free speech. Anything goes, even things which are mean, insults, hate speech. I have no problem with these because for me, people will decide. So that's why I leave every single comment on the blog, even though many of them are personal insults.
To you?
Yeah, really mean stuff and disgusting stuff. I keep them because at the end of the day they help. Because if there's someone on the not really with me or against me, when they read, if they read the personal insults and threats and silly comments of other people, they'll more likely go my side than theirs.
Right.
So that's why I'm with free speech. Whereas if I delete them or moderate or answer back every time, I'll be the one which looks weak. So freedom of speech for me is really important. That's why I'm on the board of March. It's an NGO in Lebanon,
Okay.
which is just for anti-censorship and free speech.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, free speech is there's nothing more important for me, even if I don't agree with it,
Perfect.
which no one in Lebanon does. And everyone is free speech unless they disagree.
Right. I'm all for it. Okay. So let's get to something a little bit more fun, since we're cooking and a lifestyle magazine. So
Yeah.
Is Gino a cook?
Yes, I am.
Gino's a cook.
I am, but I'm very extremely picky when it comes to food.
Really?
So I don't like garlic, not fan. Onion, not fan.
What?
I don't like spicy nor hot food.
Like Anthony, that's our next. That's
Come
our
in.
next interview.
I know garlic and onions. Anthony's a friend. So I'm really picky. It's usually bland stuff more.
Okay.
So anything with white sauce, mushrooms, some pasta, of course, goes with me. My favorite one is when I do some steak and mushroom sauce, mushroom soup,
Okay.
and some pasta.
right.
Simple, bland enough for my taste,
Yeah.
and
And you have reviews also on your blog
Yeah.
for restaurants.
All the time.
How do you go about doing that?
I focus more on I always mention the food, of course.
Yeah.
But I mention it how I wanted it to be. So I'm not really a professional critic. Because as I told you, my taste is really specific.
Okay.
So I just say if I liked it personally or not. So when I review a restaurant, it's more about the place, the atmosphere, what's it like when you go in, is it nice when you sit, is there something on the wall you can look through, a book or a nice painting, or stuff which normal reviewers never include. I try to include. Was the waiter nice?
Yeah.
Is the place okay? Should you go on a date or with friends or with family? So the kinds of things normal reviews don't really talk about. And at the end of the day, very few readers actually know about cooking that much to care enough about the specs, if you want, of the cooking. They care more about the experience, which is what I try to.
The whole experience.
Yeah, which is what I try to review more than the actual food.
Right. Okay. So one more question: do you have any advice for new bloggers?
Yes. I guess the best piece of advice would be don't push it really hard. So a lot of people really try, like, they post something and tag everyone in it and like, comment. No one likes that at all. If you have good enough content, it'll get around for sure.
Right.
Sometimes I post something I never expected to do any well, and it goes viral. So you never really know what people like. So if it's something that interests you, write it in an honest way, in a fun way, and in a way easy to read. No one likes big words. No one likes to read. So you need to say as much as possible and as little as possible, which took a while with me, but now I can do that safely enough. And never write if you don't have anything to write about.
Right.
And create original content, especially in the Arab world. We really need content coming from here. I see a lot of lifestyle, maybe bloggers. They take stuff which is happening abroad and talk about it, which is really good, cool. But a million other people talked about that too. But no one really talked about that restaurant in Jummaize, which no one ever saw. So you need to write about that. Then you need original content, good content, and never focus on the promotion a lot. It will come naturally. Don't push it, in my opinion. Because if your content's good enough, it will get around, I'm sure.
Can you give us an insider tip on one of the leaks coming up or no?
On the leaks, not yet. But I have there's a few international chains of restaurants which are set to open next year. American stuff.
American stuff?
Which are I'm not gonna throw names for the libel and the slander thing.
Okay.
But they're the big chains opening in Lebanon.
Which food category?
Fast food, I guess.
Fast food. Okay.
Especially the breakfast kind.
Okay.
Which we need. We don't have enough breakfast places in Beirut.
Brunch is very big.
Everyone just eats manouche.
Yeah.
Or a sandwich.
Yeah.
We don't really have a good brunch place.
Right.
Which is what I miss most about the States.
You've been there?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I lived there for a year.
Really?
So brunch was a really important part there of our weekend.
Yeah.
There's very few places which actually do.
Right, yeah. You're right. I mean, we have like early morning if you can
buffet,
call it, breakfast at 4 o'clock in the morning, but not really. The eggs and bacon.
After clubbing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no eggs and bacon.
No eggs and bacon.
Yeah.
No eggs Benedict, hash browns.
Yeah.
Good pancakes.
Good pancakes. I think I know what you're talking about.
Some salmon.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gino,
Thanks
for
a lot.
having us.
Pleasure.
For being
Always.
Here. Yeah. And that's a wrap. Cool.
Sorry.